Before the video starts, it's important to note that this is the channel owner speaking. I know many people dislike AI, but I want to clarify that I only use it for narration. Mainly it's because, as you might have noticed, my spoken English isn't quite there yet. I realize this might hurt the experience or lower the quality of it, but I hope you understand that I'm still working on my pronunciation so that I can eventually transition to using my real voice. Now, let's begin. Fanatico has short annotation spans, so if you just want to know the gist of this video is simple. I'll be uploading 50 ReZero videos, but they'll only be available to members. It might sound hard to believe, but there is actually a good reason for that. What is that reason? Well, now comes the long explanation.
A few months ago, I said that I didn't want to keep making ReZero videos for certain reasons. However, I also said that I would feel more motivated if we reached a financial goal per video. Since I set the price above $40, I kind of knew deep down that it would eventually be reached. But to be honest, I really mean it when I say that I didn't expect it to happen so soon. I'm not lying. I would set a goal, and the very next day, it would be reached. I would be like, what? I had planned for it to take 1 or 2 weeks, and in the meantime, I was going to bombard you with other kinds of content. However, they reached the goal in 24 hours. As a result, I've been so busy that I barely had time to deliver the commissioned videos. And not just that, dude. It got to a point where I didn't even know what goals to set anymore to make some videos, damn it. Every video I released after the I'm quitting ReZero video was paid for, and I could only release 2 episodes of a planned series. In a way, not all of this was bad because it made me realize that I could continue making YouTube videos about whatever I wanted without disappointing my ReZero audience. Making unplanned videos also made me realize that there were certain ReZero topics I hadn't covered yet. These are topics I actually want to make videos about and would do so without setting a financial goal. For example, I want to respond to a YouTuber who created an inaccurate ReZero timeline over an hour long, or discuss all the misinformation on TikTok about the series. Even the Vincent video is one that I had already said I would eventually make on my own once I finished the commissioned ones. But people liked the idea so much that it ended up being moved forward as a commission. Going back to the main topic, I was initially afraid that if I voluntarily stopped talking about ReZero, my audience would leave. Now, however, I see that won't really be the case. So, thank you. Still, during these months of commissioned videos, I realized that December was coming. With it comes the month when all content creators stop streaming to upload as many videos as possible to the platform. Why? As someone who has been monetizing on YouTube for almost 2 years, I can tell you that it's normal for YouTube to pay you up to 10 times more per view in December. That's why it's normal to see many creators being more active than usual until the end of the year. After that, though, most take a break. This is because the golden period only lasts until December 31st. In fact, a big content creator in the Spanish ReZero community, someone I really appreciate sadly, used to do something peculiar to maximize December revenue. I always wondered why he would upload videos as members only weeks before December and then make them public on December 1st. This way, he could monetize much more than usual. Well played. So why all this rambling about monetization and private videos before December? We'll get there. Once December arrived, I realized that I needed to have multiple videos ready that people would like. Basically, a cow I could milk to fill my pockets like Scrooge McDuck. That's when I knew it was time to start and finish the ReZero Cut content series. My plan is to cover all the cut content from seasons 1 and 2, which adds up to a total of 50 episodes, meaning 50 videos. Honestly, I thought this would be easy because I remembered seeing a website that had compiled all the cut content. But to my surprise, that page was incomplete and half-assed. For example, they claim that the first cut content appears in episode 7 of season 1. I was like, what? Do they expect me to believe that none of the first 6 episodes of season 1 had cut content? Season 3, which was the best adaptation, had cut content starting from episode 1. That's what I used to make videos for that series. They want me to believe that season 1, a production not expected to blow up so much, was adapted perfectly with nothing cut until episode 7? It's like leaving 2 rabbits together and expecting that after a month they still haven't given birth to 10 baby bunnies. Yeah, I say that because it happened to me twice in 3 months. Anyway, I felt a bit relieved when I spoke with some fans in the Spanish community. They told me, hey Conejo, we've got a Word document where we've been collecting cut content. If you want, we can send it to you. Just give us credit. I was like, okay, sounds great. Saves me the work. However, it turns out that even though their guide is slightly more complete than the English one, it's still incomplete. One of the people in charge told me that they knew not everything had been collected yet. I'm sure someone who worked on that collection is watching this, and I want you to know that I really appreciate you sharing your work. I genuinely appreciate it. However, I can't work with an incomplete version. If no one has compiled a complete collection of all the cut content from seasons 1 and 2, then I guess the only option left is for me to do it myself. The problem is that doing this means I have to reread 15 volumes of the ReZero light novels because seasons 1 and 2 are based on those. I also have to reread the side stories from that time and check the author's tweets from when each episode was released. I'd also have to rewatch all the break times from that period because they usually include extra information from the novels. And that's not even counting the fact that I'd have to rewatch both seasons of the anime. I like ReZero, and rewatching seasons 1 and 2 doesn't bother me per se, but it's different to rewatch them voluntarily than out of obligation, as is my case. You know what I mean? The feeling just isn't the same. However, the worst part doesn't end there. You might think I'll start all this in December to upload it that same month, but you're crazy if you think I'm going to start all this in December. I mean, there's way too much to reread and rewatch. Doing this in December would be like doing your university final project with only 24 hours left before the deadline. And even though it might sound unbelievable, I already know when I'm going to start. I'll start right now. In fact, I'll already be working on it by the time you finish watching this video. I plan to finish all 50 videos, covering every episode of seasons 1 and 2, each of which has 25 episodes. I plan to finish everything as soon as possible. Once I finish them, however, I won't be able to make them public. I'll upload them for members only and make them public in December. Wait, let me finish explaining. I'll make them public in December instead of right away, because this way, I can turn a job that might only bring in $300 to $500 into something that could be worth much more if I wait and upload it in December. I know it sounds greedy, but the reason I'm so active in the fandom is because I'm currently dedicating myself to YouTube. I have to handle all of this while maintaining a balance between doing this out of passion and doing this for financial return. Trust me, it's way more complicated than it sounds, but I've managed to keep things going until now. On top of that, things get even more complicated when I add one little detail to the equation. As soon as I finish the videos for each episode, I have to translate them instantly into English. I wish translating my videos were as simple as adding an English subtitle track to the original video. Believe me, translating a video involves more than just writing the script in another language. It's actually a process that can take many hours, and depending on the video length, it could take a whole day. While I do get help from some collaborators, I'm mainly just one person running 3 YouTube channels and streaming in my spare time. Now that I think about it, it's not just 50 videos in Spanish that I have to make. I also have to translate those videos into English. That means I have to make 100 videos. Damn, that's a lot. Of course, I'll also monetize the English channel. Fortunately for me, I've heard that English views pay way more than Spanish views. I know it sounds greedy, but I'm not expecting things to fall from the sky. I'm creating content in 2 languages. I believe I'm putting in the effort to deliver content of at least a minimum level of quality. If you still think I'm greedy or stingy, I can't change your opinion. Luckily, I have a friend I really value who helps me with certain things for the channel and server. I have another who makes the drawings for my thumbnails. I have someone I met a few months ago who helps me with shorts, and another one who makes the GIFs I usually use in my videos. There are more artists and collaborators in my community who help me out here and there, though only on rare occasions. Either way, I appreciate each and every one of them. However, I think I've strayed from the main topic. What is this video for? Since I'll be working on the videos for seasons 1 and 2, I want to let you know that I won't be uploading much content for the general public. I'll still be uploading videos, but this series of 50 episodes will only be available to members until December, as I mentioned earlier in the video. In the meantime, for free, and every now and then, I'll keep uploading shorts. They won't be made by me, but rather by my editor when he can. I'll continue streaming because even though I'll be busy, it's something I can do daily. Not only will it help keep the community alive, but it will also give me a break from the long hours of editing I'll be doing. I've also decided to start creating summaries and analyses of every Arc 9 novel chapter as they're released. In fact, I've got the guy who makes my GIFs working on more than 83 animations for a project that everyone will see when the novel returns with Volume 43.
A project that is costing me money because animation is not free.
While editing this, I realized it would be better to talk about the project now since I've already brought it up. The goal of this project is to create an animation for every character in the novel. I plan to use these animations in videos covering new episodes of the novel or narrating interesting passages. As I always say, creating content about the novel is difficult, not only because casual fans don't ask for it, but also because there aren't many illustrations of the scenes. With this project, I want to replace my current narration style and swap the static images for character animations to make the content feel more dynamic. In fact, what you're seeing now are some finished examples. Imagine that once the project is finished, there will be an animation for each character in the novel. I decided to start this project when I was thinking about how I could compete with English ReZero channels. I realized that my knowledge, having read every main and side novel, wasn't enough of an edge in such a competitive space. So I hope that using my own voice in English along with these animations will make up for what I lack. As you can see, this is something that won't just cost time but also money. And that's exactly why my expenses are going to increase. Unfortunately, right during this period when the channel will be less active. Nevertheless, even if this whole thing flops, it's something I genuinely want to do. And more importantly, I won't regret it. If you're wondering when I'll start using these animations, the plan is to launch them when volume 43 of the novel resumes. That gives me about 2 months. From that point on, you'll see me using everything I just told you about. I know I've made quite a bit recently with the commissioned videos about the series, but I've actually been using most of that money to pay for these 100 animations. The rest I keep for myself, that's just the truth. Sadly, I can't live off photosynthesis, so I don't think it's wrong to use donations and video revenue for my expenses and savings. Still, I want to be careful and transparent with my audience about this. Now that I've finished explaining the project, let's return to the main topic of the video. Even though I'll be busy, I'll still upload free content. I'll post shorts, though I won't make those myself. The only content I'll personally create are the summaries of each new episode of the novel. I'll stick to these formats because although they require some effort, they're simple enough that they won't take much time to edit, especially thanks to the work I'm doing with the animator. That way, I can put the editing of the 50 cut content videos on pause to occasionally work on these. Now comes the hardest part of this video. Since I will be producing much less content, the YouTube algorithm won't favor me for a while. That's why I'm not going to ask you to buy a membership just to access my exclusive content right now. Instead, I ask for your understanding. While uploading member-only videos is indeed a financial decision, there's more to it than money. It's also a decision driven by my deep love and passion for this story, though I know that can be easy to overlook when money is part of the equation. In December, I'll make all the videos in this series public, but you don't have to wait until then to support me. You can do so now by watching and commenting on my shorts, engaging with the new episode novel videos I'll make, or dropping by my live streams to say hi. Believe me, YouTube loves that kind of silly stuff. I won't pressure you to stay in the stream if you don't want to. I know my personality isn't appealing to everyone, and I believe people should spend their time wherever they truly want to. However, if you choose to spend time in my streams, I'd really appreciate it. If you're part of my English-speaking audience, I'd love to do streams in English someday. I'm also aware that I act differently during streams. While I usually seem calm and serious in edited videos, I can't really act that way live. I try to be more energetic. Some people like it, some don't. But at the end of the day, it's how I'm most comfortable. Since it doesn't hurt anyone, I think it's fine. If you feel like supporting me a little more, even a membership until December or a donation would help counter the drop in views. If you want your support to be even more effective, I suggest sending donations during live streams or through Ko-Fi if you follow my English channel. This will also help my ReZero community reach its video goals faster. Currently, we're working on a video covering everything Echidna has done since Season 2. It's a reading of almost 300 pages, which I'll do live and turn into a detailed video, similar to what I did with the Season 3 Blu-ray. Echidna might not be your favorite character, but I'll constantly update the goals, so keep an eye out in case a character you like shows up. Finally, as I was finishing the edit for this video, I remembered something I said earlier, the part about the people who helped me and make the Conejotako project possible. I just realized that even though I started this project alone years ago, I'm no longer sailing alone. It's now a project involving a small group of people. It's not a big group, of course, but it gives me enough stability to keep bringing you content every week. Once again, I want to thank everyone I mentioned in this video. Honestly, I doubt I could keep Conejotako going the way I have without them, without trying to sound bossy. I also want to ask you, my dear audience, not only to thank these amazing people I'm grateful to, but also to give yourselves a round of applause. After all, what would Conejotako be without an audience to entertain? You've been the invisible force pushing this channel forward in the vast competitive world of YouTube. That's all from me. Conejotako is signing off.
As the person behind the character and wants to thank you for sticking with him until the end of this video.